Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about taking notes. Note-taking. Yay! Okay, so basically what notes are, when you're taking notes for a class when you're reading an article, notes are supposed to be the things that you take to make sure that you can remember things later when you're studying. So that you don't have to reread the entire article, or you don't have to record the lecture and then listen to it again. Basically, the notes are so that you can go over the important facts without having to reread the entire thing or rehear the whole thing. So it's basically like an outline. Now, when you write an essay, one of the first things that you need to do is you need to write an outline. Okay, you need to know what you're going to say. And when you have an essay, there's a specific format that you follow. First, you have an introduction, then you have a body, which has the supporting evidence, and then a conclusion. The introduction will tell you what you're going to be arguing or what you're going to be saying or trying to prove. So it's kind of a summary of what you're going to do. The body, the paragraphs that you do inside, will have your arguments as well as the supporting evidence that you have, any quotes or things that you want to cite. And then the conclusion is going to say, okay, here's a summary that I've proved all of this is so. Okay. So when you do write your essays, you should follow that format because it's the way to make it the most coherent, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to make an outline. Again, an outline is just the important points. It's not the entire essay. When you set up an outline, you're going to say, I'm going to say this in this paragraph, I'm going to say this in this paragraph. You're not going to actually say it until you write the paragraph. Okay? So if an outline is something that you produce before you write an essay, that has just the important facts and it's not fully developed yet, but it's just got the important facts. And if notes are something that you need to just get the important facts after you've read something, then probably one of the easiest ways to think of notes is that you're deconstructing it. You're making an outline out of what you have read. Okay, so you're taking the author made an outline before he wrote what he was going to say, then he wrote the article, and now you're going to take the article and come up with the outline, and those will be your notes. So what I've done to walk you through this is I chose a piece from CNN.com. It's called "A College Education is Your Best Bet," and I'm providing the link for you on your blackboard should you choose to look it up. It's a short piece by a college president who is Joseph Aoun. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Anyway, and basically he's arguing that a college education is a good thing. So it's a short piece. So we're going to walk through this piece, and we're going to break it down into an outline so that we'll have at the end some notes. What I did in preparation for this is I took I read the article, then I broke it into 10 sections, or 10 paragraphs every time. They weren't exactly paragraphs, but every time I felt he was saying something different or it moved on to the next point, I broke it off, and it worked out to being 10. It could be more, could be less, depending on what piece you do. And I will add that at the end of this, your assignment will be to find an article on either CNN or the New York Times, an opinion piece, and do the same thing. Break down the notes, make it into an outline, break it down after reading the article. While I was reading the article, after I broke it down, into those paragraphs, I wrote up what I thought the important pieces were in the paragraph. Okay, what were the main ideas. So, without any further ado, let's dive right in. We're going to read the article paragraph by paragraph, and then we're going to go over what the important points are. Okay, so investor Peter Thiel has generated attention by making some provocative claims about America's colleges and universities. Thiel has labeled U.S. higher education, quote, a bubble in the classic sense, and believes that college degrees are, quote, overvalued. Recently, he awarded 24 talented undergraduates $100,000 each to drop out of college and pursue their entrepreneurial ideas. His rationale is that colleges and universities don't do a good job promoting innovation, and that colleges hold some people back from accomplishing what they're ready to do. Dale Stevens, who won a Thiel Fellowship, recently wrote a column for CNN that expresses this point of view. Okay, so what this is the introduction. Ta-da! And in the introduction, it's a summary of what is going to be happening. Now, Mr. Aoun, however you say his name, he is saying in this that he's responding to something that another person said, Mr. Peter Thiel, that colleges aren't doing well. So, this is basically the idea behind why he is writing this article. So in your notes, there are a couple of things that you need to take a look at. One, the fact that he's responding to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel believes higher education is a bubble and college is overvalued. So this is the impetus for the writing of this article, what Peter Thiel believes. What Peter Thiel did is the other part of this. He offered 24 fellowships for $100,000 to drop out and become entrepreneurs. Okay, now, if you notice, what I wrote in the notes is a condensed version of what Mr. Aoun wrote. He took all of this space to say that in the first paragraph, and he took all of this space to say that in the second paragraph. Okay, so that's what you're doing when you're taking notes. You're condensing things into just the important bits. Okay. All right. So that's the introduction. So let's move on to the next paragraph. He says, as many students struggle with college cost and a depressed job market, Thiel's and Stevens' statements have resonated in some quarters. Tuition at public colleges, where 80% of undergraduates go to school, is rising in many states. Federal budgets are threatening recent increases in college aid. The first years out of college can be difficult for some graduates when their salaries are lower and their student loan debt is higher. Oh boy, ain't that the truth. Okay, so this is what you would do when you're writing the notes. Okay, so now you would put a new heading, a new section. Okay, and this is some of the points that are supporting Peter Thiel's statements. The cost of college and the job market. Those are two of the main things that are making things resonate. So, in your notes, the important points in this paragraph, the cost of public college tuition is going up, or rising. And you don't always have to write things out. You can abbreviate, draw little pictures. I put in an arrow to symbolize rising, that sort of thing. The amount of college aid is going down, financial aid. Now, he talked about how the federal government's budgets are what's affecting this. That could be important, but the effect is that the college aid is going down. So that's what I think is a little more important. Also, low salaries and high debt for recent college graduates is an important thing to take away from this. Okay, so those are the three main points that he makes in this article. Tuition's going up, financial aid is going down, and so people who recently graduate can't pay off their student loans because their salaries are low. Okay, so the next little bit. But it simply isn't true that college education is overvalued, or that colleges and universities inhibit innovation. Okay, so here he is flipping it. He already said, here's all the points that are in support of Thiel's argument, but here's my argument now. Let's consider this latter claim. No reasonable observer of higher education would conclude that colleges discourage innovation. The number of world-changing inventions and discoveries made at American universities is too long to list, but they include the development of the World Wide Web, genetically altered foods, life-saving cancer and AIDS drugs, and the algorithm for Google searches. Okay, so what you would do in your notes, now he's starting his argument. Okay, so what you would do in your notes, you would symbolize that. I wrote, colleges don't discourage innovation. Okay, because what his argument is that at this point in the article, he's attacking the position that colleges discourage innovation. So now the heading for this would be colleges don't discourage innovation. And the things that he mentioned, I listed here. The World Wide Web, www.whatever.com or whatever. So I just wrote www. Genetically altered food. However you feel about that, it still was innovated at colleges. Medicine there's lots and lots of research that goes on in colleges. And Google, the algorithm for Google search. So he mentions all of these things. So whenever you see a list like this, that's usually kind of an important point, that he's mentioning all sorts of different things just in support of his argument. Okay? Okay, moving on to the next one. Universities have spawned entire industries like biotechnology and nanoscience that have generated billions of dollars and led to the creation of thousands of companies. They've also engaged in countless undergraduates and graduate students in the production of this knowledge, enabling them to launch meaningful careers. Okay? So again, in your notes, he's now continuing to support his argument, and he's talking about new industries that were created, things that didn't exist before the research was done at the colleges. Okay, and he talks about some examples are biotechnology or biotech and nanoscience. And so that's again a list. And the effects of these new industries, we have new companies and new revenue, and the undergrads and grads are prepared for these careers. Okay, meaning that we have new companies that are putting things into the economy and that sort of thing, and we're training people who are going to use these new careers in college. Okay, this is a fairly long part of the same thing, and a lot of this is because it's statistical. Okay, whenever you see a study listed in the argument, that's also very, very important. So you don't necessarily need to talk about the setup for the study as much as they do in your notes. You just say who said this, who made the study, and then what their main finding was. Okay. So here's what he says. He says, similarly, Thiel's assertion that college degrees are overvalued doesn't hold up. In boom times and recession, labor market figures consistently show that college graduates have a much lower unemployment rate than their less educated peers. In May, for example, the government reported that 95.5% of college graduates 25 and older were employed, compared with 90.3% of high school graduates and 85.4% of those without a high school diploma. In addition, a new Georgetown University study that analyzed the earning outcomes of 171 types of college degrees found that every single one generates a positive return. Even after college costs and foregone earnings are taken into account, it found that overall college graduates make 84% more over a lifetime than their high school educated counterparts. That's a strong indicator of the value of a college degree. Okay, so again, he's providing a lot of statistics, and whenever you're writing an article and you provide statistics, you have to talk about the setup of the article, the statistics, what exactly it found, all those kinds of things. When you're doing notes on an article like this, unless you're writing another article and this is something that you're citing, you don't really need to go into as much detail. So what this argument is stating is degrees are not overvalued, okay? And he's going to provide you with these statistics. He gives you a lot of numbers, but all you really need to take away from this is college equals lower unemployment. Okay? So if you have a college degree, you are less likely to be unemployed. Okay? The study from Georgetown shows that every major surveyed shows a positive return, meaning you put a certain amount of money in to getting your college degree, and you get more out. Okay? College graduates make 84% more than high school graduates. Okay, so those are the main things. Again, he has to give you all of these statistics. You don't really need to, unless there's a purpose for it. You don't really need to cite all of the statistics in your notes, unless, of course, you're taking a statistics course or you're going to use these exact statistics later on in some sort of paper or something. Okay. Thiel's statements also miss the bigger picture. First, they ignore the fact that preparing students for careers is just one important part of what colleges do. For example, in a recent national survey conducted by the Pew Research Center, more than 90% of college graduates reported that college helped them grow intellectually and mature as individuals. College expands students' horizons, exposes them to ideas and fields of study that they might not encounter otherwise, and fosters relationships with diverse peers. It prepares people to become engaged citizens in ways that few other experiences can. Okay, so in other words, now he's talking about other things. College is not only for jobs. Okay, he's talking about all the other things that colleges do. And in your notes you would put the main points here are college also helps intellectual growth and maturity. It expands intellectual horizons, so you are exposed to a broader variety of things that you might not ordinarily encounter. That's what a liberal arts degree is. It's designed to expose you to as many different possibilities as possible. And when you take a bachelor's program, when you go on to your bachelor's program, they're going to require a liberal arts grounding anyway. Diversity in your peers. You're going to encounter a lot of people who are different from you, from different backgrounds. If you look around Kingsborough, not everybody looks the same. Not everybody's from the same place. Not everybody is from the same background. And that's just at Kingsborough. If you look at any other college, you're going to find the same thing. People coming from different backgrounds for different reasons to do the same thing. And we've talked about that kind of thing before. Also, preparation for civic engagement. Preparing you to be an engaged citizen. Someone who takes an interest in the world and what's going on in it. Prepares to help your community, all that kind of thing. That's what civic engagement is all about. Okay. So he goes on. His economic arguments fall short as well. Time and again, countries have relied on colleges and universities as the surefire way to expand their economies and promote social mobility. In the 1950s, the dramatic expansion of higher education in the U.S. helped create the American middle class. In one generation, South Korea propelled itself from the ranks of the world's poorest nations to among the world's richest, in a large part by emphasizing higher education. Okay, so now he's giving some historical examples to back up his claim that college is useful. Okay, so historical examples of an improving economy he talks about. That would be the heading for this section. And the two examples he gives, 1950s United States created the middle class, and South Korea went from poor to rich in one generation. Okay, he goes on. Today, America's strongest global competitors are doubling down on the same strategy. In China, the number of students enrolled in higher education more than quintupled over the last decade. India has established thousands of new colleges in recent years. The United States was the first nation to expand college access beyond the elites and make it available on a mass basis, but today we rank 14th in the world in college graduation. To reclaim our leadership, everyone needs to do their part. Okay, so he's saying a couple things. First of all, he's giving current examples of an improving economy. Okay, so he gave you the historical examples, now he's giving you the current examples. And the current examples he gives are China, which has quintupled enrollment in its college, so 5 times as many people are going to college in China than were, and India, which is building more colleges.